India won its independence in 1947, and for the first time, India had to make a number of decisions. Most importantly, the policymakers had to decide the economic structure of the nation. There were a few options available, and these were prominent. The country could adopt a socialist policy, which was prevalent in the Soviet Union, where all the means of production was owned by the government, or they could adopt a structure of capitalism, which was extremely popular in the West, where the free markets prevailed. Jawaharlal Nehru was in favor of socialism, but not the kind that prevailed in the Soviet Union, as free will was one of the binding elements of democracy. So the policymakers adopted a system of democratic socialism. This was a system which sympathized with the idea of socialism, but it allowed for a strong and independent private sector. As time progressed, it was the job of the policymakers to put this economic policy in stone, which resulted in the government passing the Industrial Policy Act of 1948. This policy was deep rooted in the ideas of democratic socialism and essentially launched the mixed economy, allowing both the private and the public sector to march hand in hand to accelerate the pace of industrial development. It also paved the way for many socio-economic measures to be taken at an industry-specific level. For instance, the Industrial Policy Act of 1948 emphasized on establishing harmonious industrial relations. It gave priority to high wages, social security to workers, and encouraged them to participate in high levels of the management. Moving towards 1950, the government set up a planning commission. The goals of this planning commission were well stated. It aimed at progressing India on the path of growth, modernization, self-reliance, and equity. One of the overarching goals of the commission was to increase the GDP of the nation so as to ensure increased well-being of the citizens and overall development of the nation. Beyond growth, the commission also hoped to modernize the nation both technologically and socially. It invested in areas such as agriculture, industries, services, and socially it wanted to uplift and empower women in the society. The Commission also envisioned India to be a system of self-reliance. A state of non-dependence on foreign countries for essential commodities was considered a very important aspect for the Indian economy. Finally, and most importantly, it wanted to achieve a state of economic prosperity which would be distributed to all the sections of the society rather than restricting them to the rich. Fast forward to 1955. In 1955, the Village and Small Scale Industry Committee was established. This Village and Small Scale Committee was also known as the Karve Committee. This Karve Committee noted the possibility of using the small scale industries to promote and advance rural growth and development. These industries were very labor intensive, and therefore it was very difficult for them to compete with modern large scale industries which had capital investment and a large set of technological tools to their advantage. The government then decided that a preferential status be given to these industries, and certain classes of production were reserved for these small scale industries. After this, in 1965, India adopted a Farm and Concrete Industrial Policy Resolution. This industrial policy resolution was in accordance with the goal of the state controlling much of the Indian economy. Industries were reserved and no company was allowed to set up an industry unless and until a license was obtained for the same. And this policy was utilized by the government to promote backward areas. However, the license Raj system as a whole suffered many drawbacks. The bigger industrialists would get the licenses to prevent the competition from starting businesses, and this created an economic landscape which was riddled with corruption. More time was spent by industrialists to obtain these licenses than improving their products. In addition to this, import tariffs on foreign products were so high that the middle class Indian consumer could not afford them. The first 7-year plans were focused on import substitution, which failed in hindsight. With the national takeover of many businesses, the rise of a black market for essential foreign commodities, and rampant corruption. By the end of 1960, many Indians changed their attitude on the way they perceived the Indian economy and the government as a whole. More Indians were in favor of changing the laws and the economic structure, but the politicians were not ready to do it, not just yet.